China and Malaysia deepening economic ties as Premier Li Qiang pays a visit, becoming the first Chinese official of his rank to make a trip to the Southeast Asian nation since 2015. Premier Li presided over the groundbreaking ceremony of a railway facility alongside Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. The Gombak integrated terminal station is part of the East Coast Rail Link. It's a mega project under China's Belt and Road Initiative. Mr. Anwar and Mr. Li also witnessed the signing of more than a dozen memorandums and agreements, as well as the renewal of a 5-year economic and trade program. Mr. Li's visit to Malaysia comes as Beijing looks to boost relations with a country that has long asserted its neutrality amid intensifying rivalry between the US and China. And for more, Melissa Go joins us live from Gombak in Selangor. Melissa, Malaysia rolling out the red carpet for Premier Li. Tell us more about the reception that he received during this trip.
A busy day indeed for Premier Li Qiang, who's here to celebrate 50 years of diplomatic relations with Malaysia. Now, at the banquet this evening, he has described Malaysia as a good neighbor, a loyal friend, and a trustworthy business partner, which China can count on always through good and bad times. Now, while Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim this evening reiterated that forging close ties with China is not about short-term gains, but one of vital long-term interests. Now, Mr. Anwar is being pragmatic here, a reason why he said the historic ties which began 50 years ago when Malaysia, being the first ASEAN member country to establish diplomatic ties with China, endured and flourished all these years. And because of this mutual respect and non-aligned principle. Now, both leaders also held bilateral talks this morning where trade and investment, education, tourism, food security and digital economy featured prominently. Now, both countries also signed a slew of MOUs and to further expand visa exemption, they said, and boost air connectivity and facilitate greater access for Malaysian durians to be exported to China, its largest trading partner, for 15 years. Now, earlier this afternoon, Premier Li had an audience with the King, Sultan Ibrahim, at the National Palace and jointly launched the East Coast Rail Link integrated terminal outside of Kuala Lumpur in Gombak. Now, the ECRL is a flagship project, a showcase for China under the Belt Road Initiative. Now, it's now almost 70% completed, Premier Li said, and is scheduled to be operational ahead of schedule before January 2027. Now, all these as Malaysia roll out the red carpet to receive Premier Li to mark the 50 years of diplomatic relations.
Melissa, of course, warm words there, certainly on trade and development, but Malaysia's foreign minister ahead of this visit already hinting that there will be talk, some discussion on more sensitive issues such as the South China Sea. What have you heard on that front?
In a way, so it's unclear just how extensive this hot potato issue like South China Sea was discussed during the bilateral meeting this morning. Now, according to the statement released by the Chinese Foreign Ministry this morning, that both Malaysia and China agreed that disputes in South China Sea ought to be resolved amicably and independently through bilateral negotiations among the relevant affected ASEAN member countries. But Malaysia, who's a member of ASEAN, in fact, due to take over the ASEAN chairmanship next year, has maintained all along that issues of territorial disputes over South China Sea is a matter that needs to be discussed within the grouping itself as a whole. Now, Prime Minister Anwar did not comment tonight, and his aide is keeping mum. They said wait for the statement that it's going to be issued by the Prime Minister's office tomorrow as soon as Premier Li ends his 3-day official visit to Malaysia.
We'll look forward to that. Thanks for that. Melissa Go reporting from Selangor, and we'll have more on Malaysia's ties with China with an expert from the Singapore Institute of International Affairs later on this bulletin.